everybody, it's Mia from TMBH. Today is April 6th and it is Friday, the last day of the week, and we are going to tell another story today. We've been telling some stories recently just about different people and their kind of opioid stories, and I feel like that's probably one of the better ways to kind of reach out to people who are in similar positions by kind of letting them know the stories of other families who have gone through addiction. And so we do two different videos. We do the bright side videos and the dark side videos. And I mean, how we categorize those videos it can be really hard to categorize because, you know, at first, like, you have like this kind of simple category of like, okay, well, if the person's passed away, if it's somebody telling the story of somebody else who's passed away, clearly that's a dark side. And then you have other stories where it's like, well, the person ended up going to treatment and they ended up like getting like this great job afterwards, and now they're able to take care of themselves, and so then that's clearly bright side. But then you've got some other stories that are kind of a bit more difficult to characterize because the person is alive, which is great, and they've gotten treatment, which is even better, and they're maintaining sobriety, which is awesome. But then you've got this issue of still kind of like they have to live with the consequences of decisions they made a long time ago, decisions that they no longer deny, or mistakes that they no longer deny that they made, but like ones that they've confronted, ones that they've kind of like tried to repent for as much as possible and move on from. And it sucks. Like, there are these like cases where it's like an otherwise like a bright side story because everything else is lined up, but then there are these elements of like, it sucks because you move on as best as you can, but for certain people, if you don't get out of addiction at a certain point, for some people there are consequences that will unfortunately last well into your sobriety. So, I mean, for certain people, you know, you just start off and you're not going to, if we get you help early enough, then hopefully you've kind of missed any long-term effects or lifelong effects. But there is another class of people where it's like there are definitely things that you have to live with. And so one of the stories is a story from the guy today, Ron Ward, and he has a really awesome story. So basically, he was addicted to using meth intravenously, so he injected meth, and he had a history of sexual abuse and depression, so that's kind of where this whole thing starts, is with the mental illness going on, so the depression, and then of course, you know, if you add trauma like sexual assault or rape to that equation, then it can get even, like, depression and mental illness can get even harder to overcome. And so for him, it was very difficult to cope. He turned, unfortunately, to meth, and he had to deal with some pretty serious consequences. So he talks about, and if you watch the video, again, we have morning videos, so check out our morning video when you're done with this so you can see his story. I'm not going to tell you all of his story, but I'll kind of summarize it for you. But he'll tell you about this like incident that had happened one day where he basically almost OD'd. And from that point, he ended up getting help after that, but then he ended up ODing, or not ODing again, but he ended up using again, because he ended up finding out. So like he ended up ODing, right? And then after he OD'd, he decided to go to the hospital. He went to the hospital and found out that he had hepatitis C and HIV. And so this is where I'm talking about how it's a bright side story, because ultimately in the end, Ron does end up being sober, and so like that's awesome, like that's really great. And he's done some like really awesome things with his life that you can check out in our morning video. That, I mean, he helps other people, and so you've got this really awesome bright side. But the dark side thing that, to me, like, I feel like it sucks is like I look at a person like him, and he's just like, he's gone through so much, and you know, like we don't always handle like our own problems and our traumas well, and he made some mistakes, but he's made up for those. And unfortunately, it seems like certain stuff just kind of has to live with him for the rest of his life, just because of some mistakes, because of some trauma and mental illness and just kind of other factors. So yeah, check out our morning video so that you can hear him tell his story, because I think he has a really good story, and I didn't really want to tell it for you, or tell it to you guys for him, because I like the way he does it. So check out our morning video. Yeah, otherwise I will see you guys back here on Monday for a Mindful Monday video. And And yes, we're going to talk about carfentanil on Monday. So yeah, I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great day.